Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, all praises and double honor is due to Yahweh Bahashem Hamashah Malak Yahushai. Secondly, this is Brother Yardan W. Detroit coming back at you with the end of the cold cut. As you can see, we'll be going into the book of Sirach, the 30th chapter. Right, we'll be going over each and every verse and breaking it down to the best of our ability. And of course, we'll bring out precepts. We'll provide a little bit of anecdotes, anything to really help Israel to understand what the scriptures are talking about, right? So let's dive into it. This is Sirach chapter 30, verse 1. He that loveth his son causeth him oft to feel the rod, that he may have joy of him at the end. This is a beautiful, righteous thing, right? When you have a toddler, when you have a child, right, he's bound to do some type of folly, right? As is written in the book of Ecclesiastes. Let's get it. I don't want to misquote it. Let me pull it up. Ecclesiastes 11:10, it tells us, therefore, remove sorrow from thy heart and put away evil from thy flesh, for childhood and youth are vanity, right? In other words, when you're a child, you say a lot of things that's not profitable. You may speak out of turn. Your mind isn't really developed, all right? And just because your mind not really developed, does that mean, you get a free pass? No. Even a child has to be corrected. All right. So back to Sirach 30:1. That's why I said, he that loveth his son, if you really care and love your kid, you're going to what? Make him feel the rod often. All right. It's just one of those things that we all have to go through. The Lord, he chastises us with the rod often. He does that because he loves us. And what does that rod also do? It corrects us. Right? We're not going to do the same wrong that we did in time past. Right? All of that's because of the rod. And who's hitting us? The Lord. He's righteously smiting us with the rod so we can understand our mistakes. So when you have a child, best believe he's going to understand his mistakes, after that beating. You understand? Let's get a precept. Proverbs 13:24, the classic. He that spareth his rod hateth his son, but he that loveth him chasteneth best times. So if you spare, meaning if you withdraw, if you're not hitting your son with the rod, that means you hate him because you don't really give a damn about his end. All right? You chastise him at a young age, he's going to acquire a lot of knowledge and wisdom as he grows. But again, if you withhold, if you spare the rod from your child, guess what? He's going to be bound to folly all of the days of his life. All right, so again, verse 24, he that spareth his rod hateth his son, but he that loveth him chasteneth him best times. All right, now, on another level, do you see the Most High chastising Esau? No, they don't get chastised. Right, they're living a luxurious, beautiful, wonderful, rich life. There's no chastisement, there's no hell, there's no curses that he's going through. All right, that's another way to tell Israel that the Lord does not love Esau because he's not getting chastised. This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 5. And ye have forgotten the exhortation which spaketh unto you as unto children, my son. Despise not thou the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. So there's a lot of times we're going to be rebuked of the Lord. That doesn't mean we have our head down for the rest of our damn days. That means, we got to acknowledge where we went off, self-examine ourselves, and understand, okay, the Lord is doing this for a reason. You understand? Let me see. We can go back to Sirach. He that chastiseth his son shall have joy in him, and shall rejoice of him among his acquaintances. That's facts. Right? If you don't correct the kid, he's going to think the things that he do is always right and funny and silly. But we'll get to that. Right? Verse 5. While he lived, he saw and rejoiced in him. And when he died, he was not sorrowful. Verse 6. That's self-explanatory. Verse 6. He left behind him an avenger against his enemies, and one that shall requite kindness to his friends. Self-explanatory. Verse 7. He that maketh too much of his son shall bind up his words, and his bowels will be troubled at every cry. Right? It's a precept to that in verse, what is that? 9. Right? But let's keep reading. A horse not broken becometh headstrong, and a child left to himself will be willful. All right. Verse 9, conquer thy child, and he shall make thee afraid, play with him, and he shall bring thee to heaviness. So you got to understand, you can't conquer, meaning to spoil your kid. You cannot spoil your kid, or he will make you afraid. Not in a sense of you're scared he's going to beat you up, but in a sense like, oh, yo, bro, you kind of scary. Right? If you understand what I'm saying. Even in Jake lingo and hip talk, when we say scared, we don't actually mean like we're scared, but like, yo, you moving kind of strange. Right? That's how that child is going to move. He's moving kind of strange. He's going to kind of, scare you, if you understand what I'm saying. Right? That's only if you conquer him and you spoil him. Because best believe that the minute he doesn't get what he wants, hey, you're going to act like a damn demon. And you see that with the children of Esau. Right? Verse 10, laugh not with him, lest thou have sorrow with him, and lest slacken lest thou gnash thy teeth in the end. So when your 5-year-old is twerking, right, don't laugh and start clapping your hands and put it on TikTok and World Star on Facebook and say, haha, that's so cute. No, you're gonna be gnashing your teeth at the end. Right? Because you gotta understand, again, a child does not know what he or she is doing. That's why you have to correct him. All right? Don't think that child is just, it's a grown-ass adult. Let it do what he want. No, you got to correct your kid. The Lord corrects us. Verse 11. Give him no liberty in his youth, and wink not at his follies, as plain upon tables. Right? There's certain things that your kid can and can't do. You're not going to let your kid do anything he want to. Verse 12. Bow down his neck while he is young, and beat him on the sides while he is a child, lest he wax stubborn and be disobedient unto thee, and so bring sorrow to thine heart. You understand? All right, so don't bow down, slakia. So make your kid go through it righteously. Right? Don't be an asshole, but hey, get on him, correct him. Verse 13, chastise thy son and hold him to labor, lest his lewd behavior be an offense unto thee. So your son also has to be doing chores. So it's a righteous thing when our parents give us chores. That keeps us occupied. Verse 14, it keeps us disciplined, right? It teaches us responsibility. Verse 14, better is the poor being sound and strong of constitution than a rich man that is afflicted in his body. Right, I'm going to read it again. Better is the poor being sound and strong in constitution than a rich man that is afflicted in his body. And there's like a million verses where it's better to be poor than a rich man in X, Y, and Z, right? Because ultimately it goes to show that riches don't, it's not going to profit you at the end of the day, right? It don't really mean as much. Yeah, it's a defense, but at the end of the day, you can be a rich man and X, Y, and Z can happen to you. You can be wicked, you can be stubborn, you can have this, that, and a third. Riches don't always equal righteousness and a sound mind at that. Verse 14, better is the slacky. Verse 15, health and good estate of body are above gold, and strong body above infinite wealth. See that plain upon tables. I already kind of explained that. Verse 16, there is no riches above a sound body, and no joy above the joy of a heart. Death is better than a bitter life or a continual sickness. And that's very true and heavy, because that's why you hear a lot of people say, hey, I'd rather be dead, right? Because sometimes in this life, we go through hell and it's a slow torture. That's why it's an old saying, dying is easy, but living is harder. Verse 18, delicates poured upon a mouth shut up are as messes of meat set upon a grave. So like, right, it's not profitable. It's just not profitable. Verse 19, what good doth the offering unto an idol? For neither can it eat nor smell, so is he that is persecuted of the Lord. Right? Verse 20, he seeth with his eyes and groaneth as a eunuch that embraceth a virgin and sigheth. Right? Give not over thy mind to heaviness and afflict not thyself in thine own counsel. That's true. Right? Sometimes we can do that to ourselves, for our mind is like 7 watchmen, on the tower. You're going to be thinking this, that, and the third, A, B, C, X, Y, and Z, Verse 22, the gladness of the heart is life of man, and joyfulness of a man prolongeth his days. All right, it's plain upon the table. That's why Esau even tell you, if you tend to smile more, be happy more, you live a longer life. Because that sadness, that sorrow can bring forth the spirit, kind of, become as a leech. Verse 23, love thine own soul and comfort thy heart. Remove sorrow far from thee. For sorrow hath killed many, and there is no profit therein. And there's an actual disease called, I believe, cardiomyopathy. Let me Google it real quick. It's called broken heart syndrome. Okay, I made up the first one. That's too much Grey's Anatomy. But the first one is really called broken heart syndrome. You can actually die from a broken heart. It was a dude that just gave up the ghost. I can't remember. Something happened with his daughter. Or no. I think it was a brother. He gave up the ghost because his woman lied or cheated on him or whatever. He had a heart attack and died. So sorrow can actually kill you. Anyway, verse 24, envy and wrath shorteneth the life, and carefulness bringeth about age before the time. And that's heavy because envy and wrath can lead you down to a road of destruction. Right? That can kill your life. And also even if you don't like do nothing like wicked, even that envy and wrath in you, that spirit on you, right? That can, deteriorate your body and your flesh. They got faces of, brothers can Google it, but faces before and after war. You see the faces of man, they're like, damn, right? It looked like they went through a damn blender. And it's not like nothing physically like got blown off through war, but it was the experience of war. It kind of aged them, So how much more that envy and wrath? Verse 25, a cheerful and good heart will have a care of his meats and diet. That's true. Right? If you cheerful and good and you're feeling good in the spirit, more than likely you're gonna have a good diet. Yeah. That was rather a short chapter, pretty self-explanatory, By apparatus, Israel's been edified. We're going to do another one next Sunday, Lord willing, if it be of the Lord's will, apparatus. Until then, shalom.